Jesse Owens.
Indeed. You're talking 1936 Olympic Games in Berlin, Germany. Jesse Owens, a black American track and field star, thrust into the middle of confrontation between the Nazis and the free world. Owens was on GSL in 1974, and he set the scene for us.
And now, Paul, this is the beginning of 6 of the greatest days of my life. This was the opening ceremonies for the German youth, and this was where they were told that the Olympic Games was a great thing to them, and that this was the beginning of the Aryan supremacy, that they could conquer the world as far as athletics were concerned. And on that day, the opening ceremonies is where Hitler is coming down now to go to his box to begin the opening of the Olympic Games.
An unbelievable historic moment. Superiority of the Aryan race was central to the Nazi ideology, and it put black athletes like Jesse Owens in the spotlight. Could he and the few other black American athletes dispel that sick notion by defeating the Nazis on their own track? Those were the stakes. They were huge stakes.
When Hitler would not shake hands, did you realize how important point in history that would be as far as American sport is concerned?
Well, no, Paul, we didn't begin to realize it then. We didn't know the political implications at that time because it wasn't our concern. We were only concerned with the idea of being there to be able to represent our nation in those Olympic Games. We could see the brown shirts and we could see the many flags. And we did not think in terms of the implications that it might lead to in later years.
What a time. Difficult to imagine. And Owens, let's be honest, wasn't really conscious of the role that he was playing. Let's put it in perspective, Murph. He was a 23-year-old track star thrust into the middle of a worldwide propaganda war.
Yeah, he was. And now there's some debate about this, but it is said that Hitler snubbed Owens by not congratulating him when he won.
Yeah, supposedly, Hitler stormed out of the stadium after Owens won the 100 meters. It was a glorious achievement for the man they called the Buckeye Bullet. Owens certainly did have the last laugh. 4 gold medals and a place in history.
The culmination to all your dreams when you stood on that platform.
Well, you know, you can stand there on that day, Paul, and as you look at your flag rise above all others, and you can say to yourself, today I am an Olympic champion. And as I looked down, was able to kiss my wife, that was the end of the perfect day, and my dream had come true.
See, we love happy endings, but it really didn't end so happily for our great Olympic champion. You'd think he'd be greeted as a conquering hero upon his return to America. He wasn't. In fact, when he returned home, President Franklin Roosevelt refused to meet with him and congratulate him, which would have been typical for an Olympic champion, especially one who had dominated the Nazi athletes.
Yeah, here's how Owens put it. He said, quote, "When I came back to my native country, I couldn't ride in the front of the bus. I had to go to the back door. I couldn't live where I wanted. I wasn't invited to shake hands with Hitler, but I wasn't invited to the White House to shake hands with the president either."
And you see him on GSL some 38 years later, as gracious and forgiving as a man could be. Kind of reminds me of Doc Rivers' comments on George Floyd's murder. And I quote, "It's amazing," he said, "we keep loving America, and this country does not love us back," end quote.
Owens died 6 years after his GSL interview, but not before cementing his place as one of America's greatest sports pioneers.